For years, unscripted television traded on a specific currency: authentic, unhinged rage. Screaming matches and shattering glasses served as highly profitable assets. But today, the corporate requirements of television have shifted. Over a 15-year tenure, Teresa Giudice built a personal empire out of family warfare. She remained a fixture of the New Jersey franchise by turning deep-seated interpersonal conflict into a highly lucrative multi-million-dollar corporate engine. That engine eventually seized. By mid-2024, the toxicity reached a gridlock so absolute that network executives prepared to wipe the slate clean, threatening to liquidate the entire veteran cast. Rather than fighting the network, Giudice executed a clinical pivot. She abandoned her early career's aggression and adopted a posture of strict corporate compliance. This transition raises an industrial question. How does a reality star outmaneuver a multi-billion-dollar network to preserve her position, right when her defining behavioral trait has bankrupted the production model? By the time cameras rolled on season 14, the production environment had reached a state of paralysis. The ensemble cast stopped functioning as a single unit. The roster fractured into two hostile factions. Teresa Giudice anchored one side, while Margaret Josephs and Melissa Gorga anchored the other. The women refused to occupy the same physical space. This stalemate broke the show's core formula. Producers could no longer orchestrate standard group events, and the tension eventually forced the network to cancel the season 14 reunion to prevent a physical altercation. Confronted with an unproducible show, Bravo executives began drafting a system wipe. They looked to the recent history of the New York franchise and prepared to fire the entire New Jersey cast to start over. Algorithmic reality television requires interaction to generate footage. When highly paid cast members refuse to engage with one another, they stop generating value and transform into commercial liabilities. Faced with potential termination in late 2025, off-camera strategy superseded on-camera authenticity. The threat of a reboot hit at a moment of severe financial vulnerability. Giudice and her husband, Luis Ruelas, were navigating a newly leveled $3 million tax lien, alongside costly off-camera litigation. Maintaining her Bravo salary became a financial necessity. On the other side of the divide, her brother Joe and sister-in-law Melissa Gorga recognized their own precarious position. If the network executed a full reboot, the supporting cast was far more expendable than the primary matriarch. They orchestrated a ceasefire. At the November 2025 BravoCon convention in Las Vegas, the Giudice and Gorga families publicly debuted a sudden, unified reconciliation. This off-camera alliance stripped showrunners of their executive leverage. By agreeing to film together, the cast removed the primary justification for a total reboot. It placed the network in a bind. Executives could not justify firing the core family immediately after they delivered the peaceful reconciliation audiences had demanded for a decade. Decoupling their real-world family dynamics from the network's conflict engine served as a defensive countermeasure, insulating their salaries from corporate execution. With the matriarchs suddenly compliant, Bravo restructured the architecture of season 15 around them. Veterans who failed to adopt to these pacified parameters were purged. Margaret Josephs, a primary rival who refused to compromise her personal boundaries for the cameras, was removed from the roster. The cleanout extended to the broader supporting cast. Women like Danielle Cabral, who had built their brands on intense aggression and explosive table fights, were also stripped of their contracts. To fill the empty seats, casting directors installed younger, compliant micro-influencers, talent expected to deliver light comedy and sisterhood rather than deep-seated hostility. The continued employment of the show's primary stars was ultimately paid for through the removal of their closest network allies. This transition reveals Giudice's television literacy. She recognized shifting network priorities, transforming from a self-destructive antagonist into a sanitized corporate anchor. She pre-edited her lifestyle footprint, dissolving her lip fillers for a softer aesthetic and launching a controlled, home-based podcast to dictate her narrative away from unscripted intrusion. This chart models network priorities. For years, unpredictable rage generated corporate value, but as production costs rose, volatility became a deficit. At the 2024 inflection point, the value of raw aggression plummets, replaced by a skyrocketing demand for compliance and structured sisterhood. The New Jersey overhaul aligns with a network mandate prioritizing high-volume, low-risk environments over unpredictable realities. In a hyper-optimized corporate space, pivoting into compliance is the primary mechanism for career longevity. Authentic conflict is no longer the goal; it is a liability to be managed.